What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the Take Three podcast. We're here. It's now week 17 of the NFL season. We're coming to a close. The regular season only has 2 weeks left. It's pretty weird being here on a Thursday. Obviously, no Thursday night football. Everything's Sunday, and then we have the one Monday night game, which is probably Big Ben's last game as a Steeler, a home game as a Steeler, I should say. There's still week 18. Still weird to think that there's another week after week 17. But I mean, this week there's some big matchups on the docket. A lot of teams that are kind of, especially in that AFC picture, those 8-7, 9-6 teams looking to solidify a playoff spot. I mean, right off the top, we got Kansas City goes to Cincinnati. That should be a good one. Cincinnati 9-6. Looking if they can somehow steal a game and stop the red hot Kansas City Chiefs. That would be a huge one for them. We got Miami looking to be the first 1-7 team to ever make, or first team that started 1-7 to turn it all the way around and make the playoffs. They're at Tennessee. Should be a close contest. I mean, I like Miami off the top. We'll get into it, but I just think it could be interesting. Then you got obviously Las Vegas plays Indianapolis. We don't know the Carson Wentz situation, but he can test out Sunday morning, so he should be there. The line's like 6.5. It's holding up, so he's probably going to play. Obviously Philadelphia, Washington. We got who else? Arizona goes to Dallas. The crumbling Cardinals head on the road to face almost the number 2 seed in the NFC, the Dallas Cowboys, who are just sitting back waiting for a Green Bay slip up. They play Sunday night. Maybe if they slip up against Minnesota, the Cowboys can capitalize and get that 1 seed. So, I mean, before we get into these games and really talk about the ones that we felt were the most meaningful, how are we feeling heading into week 17? Obviously, our picks are locked in at this point.
Not crazy about the spread picks this week. I felt better, but I feel good going into this weekend. I'm riding kind of a bit of a hot streak. We got some meaningful games. We're going to get some 1 seeds decided, some matchups decided. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited.
Facts. I mean, yeah, let's jump straight into the first one that we got real quick. We have the Miami Dolphins, as I mentioned. They're now 8-7. Going on the road to take on Ryan Tannehill and the Tennessee Titans. Miami, they're really peaking at the right time. They're 7 straight wins. The defense is back. Ever since that Thursday night game against Miami, it seems like their defense has been solid. The offense, they finally started using Jalen Waddle correctly, getting him out in space. Tua's looked pretty good in this stretch, to be honest. Everybody read off Tua. But I think he's really put it back together and really showed the Dolphins that, hey, maybe you shouldn't have came out and let all these rumors leak about me, because I can actually play when you have the right setup. And then on the other side, I mean, Tennessee, they're 10-5. Derrick Henry looming maybe back for the playoffs, wild card divisional round. We don't know, but they're kind of sitting back and looking if KC somehow slips up that they could be the 1 seed. Obviously, they have the head-to-head tiebreaker over Kansas City in that dominant victory before the Chiefs figured it out. But I mean, how do you feel going into this game? I think it's going to be like it could be a low scoring one. Obviously, the Dolphins, they still have a shitty O-line, so it's like hard to really bank on them, but I kind of like their defense. I like Xavier Howard to match up with AJ Brown. And obviously we've seen Julio. He's kind of washed at this point, to be honest. I just like how the Dolphins defense matches up against that Titans offense. And I think they should be able to go on the road and steal a game. They're like a 3.5-point underdog. Obviously the Titans are getting the home field advantage kind of points. I mean, how are you feeling looking at this one? I think it's going to be a tough day for, I think, for the Titans offense. Could be for both offenses though.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those games where the defenses are going to really have to show out. I like Miami on the road here getting points, basically because they're getting points. They're playing really hot right now. Tennessee's obviously still beat up. They got AJ Brown back. Monster game last Thursday against the Niners to seal that win. So that's great for Tannehill to get one of his big weapons back. Obviously still missing Derrick Henry. So like we've seen this Titans team kind of get it going in bursts with as long as they have at least AJ Brown on the field. And that's kind of what I expect. I expect like 2 to 3 drives, scoring drives for them where they look really good, and then some 3 and outs, and they struggle quite a bit offensively. The Dolphins defense is very good. I actually like this unit quite a bit. 7-game win streak, obviously. They have a very good defense and like an okay offense. So it's like a really interesting game, and it's like a really good like measuring stick for the Dolphins. I think this is like their best test maybe all year, especially since they're playing really well and it's on the road. So I like them getting points. I think they're going to be able to slow down the Titans offense enough And like they kind of have figured it out offensively with Tua. That offensive line is not very good. Duke Johnson came in the last few weeks, gave that running game a bit of a lift, but like it's hard to do with that offensive line, just not that good, right? So they kind of figured out Tua goes on the run. You throw short and intermediate throws a lot. They figured out how to use Jalen Waddle in really creative situations. He's getting like 11, 13 targets a game. It's working really well, and they're putting up enough points, and they're letting that defense that doesn't break much might bend a little bit, and it's a winning formula right now. 7-game win streak, and I like the Dolphins on the road to just get it done. I think they'll not only do I think they'll cover, I think they'll sneak away with like a field goal victory.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one note on the Dolphins is they're 19-7 in November through January since Brian Flores became the coach, and they're 4-17 from September to October. So it's like, I don't know what the hell is going on. If they can just steal a couple W's out of the gate, I mean, they're probably chilling because it's shown that Brian Flores has his guys ready to go down the stretch. But yeah, I just think the Dolphins defense has the matchup to slow down AJ Brown. I mean, when you look at last week, AJ Brown had a field day. He had Josh Norman covering him. I could probably go out there, run a couple routes, and maybe catch a few passes on Josh Norman at this point. He's not it. I mean, when you look at the Titans, they kind of just they got to attack and force Tua into some bad throws. He had a real bad one Monday night with the deep ball. I don't know what he was looking for, but I just like the Dolphins. They're surging at the right time. Their offense is putting it together a little bit. Their defense, I mean, when they were 1-7, they were allowing 30 points a game. In this 7-game streak, they're allowing 11.7 points per game. Clear turnaround on the defensive side of the ball. And yeah, I just like the Dolphins. It was a Jekyll and Hyde type win where the Titans probably should have lost to the Niners last week if Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't gift wrap them the ball game. But yeah, I think close contest. I think, yeah, field goal right around there. I don't think either team has enough juice really to blow them out. Blow each other out, considering how bad the O-line is on the Dolphins side, and the fact that the Titans can actually get after the quarterback. They have 3 players with 7+ sacks this year with Landry, Simmons, and Autry in the middle. So they can get to the quarterback. But I mean, if you're a Titans fan, you need 2 wins and 1 Chiefs loss, and you are the 1 seed, and you will have a bye. So that's a big one. If they can somehow pull this out and root for Cincinnati to pull the upset at the same time, to be honest, probably scoreboard watching.
Yeah, definitely, because the 1 seed is the only seed that gets a bye now. So it's it's an even bigger deal. And I'm glad you brought up the D line, because Tennessee is the favorite here. They're at home, and that's how they're going to win the game, right? Just crushing that offensive line, that terrible offensive line for the Miami Dolphins. You just get pressure on them. And we've seen it before, right? We saw a Sunday night game against LA, which was a much better offensive line, and they went to work. The Titans did. And that was a defensive ball game, and their defense really won that game. So they're more than capable of winning this game. They're the favorites for a reason. And if the D line spent all day terrorizing Tua, I wouldn't be surprised at all. But I got to lean Miami with that defense. But hey, Tennessee has a recipe for a victory here, even without like a big game from AJ Brown.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so let's keep it moving to the other game at the same time that will be going on. We got the big one. Honestly, it might be game of the day when you really look at it just from like a matchup standpoint. If you're not going Dolphins Titans, which really isn't like flashy, the people are really going to jump out of their seats to see. But we got the Chiefs. They're going on the road, obviously surging. They've secured the 1 seed up to this point. It's crazy. Once again, we mentioned on the recap of last week that this team was once 3-4. They're now 11-4, 8 straight wins. Impressive. They're going on the road to face a Bengals team who's looking to get into the playoffs. Obviously, Joe Burrow last week put on a clinic against the Ravens. It was hilarious. He had Bart Scott, I believe, on Get Up on ESPN today, pretty upset, putting bounties on Joe Burrow. That's a little ridiculous, kind of unprofessional from that standpoint. But I mean, this is probably the game that I'm super excited, outside of obviously my own team's game in this afternoon, because I'm interested to see. This is like a gut check. This is another one of those gut check games for the Bengals, where it's like, are they going to rise to the moment? They've done it a couple times this year, and then they've done it the other way. Their defensive line, I mean, they can attack Patrick Mahomes. We can see if they can get to him. But obviously the weapons, Travis Kelce's going to be back. Tyreek Hill's there. They've seen a way to get Pringle involved. They still have McCole Hardman that's around there. No Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but I don't really think that's like a huge factor. And then on the other side, obviously the Chiefs have that defense they're flying to the ball. They're getting after the quarterback. And I could see it flip-flopping the other way, where Joe Burrow has a rough day, right? He had such a good week last week. It's like, how many of those weeks? It was a picture-perfect week last week, and then you go into a game like this at home And it's how many of those times you can have a tailor-made game again. So, I mean, I'm all over the Chiefs. I just think the Bengals are that type of team, right? They have such a good week last week against the Ravens, sweep the Ravens. They went on the road to Denver and won 15-10. So I just think they're one of those Jekyll and Hyde teams up there with the Chargers, where they're due to lose one, and I think they will go down this week. I just think the Chiefs are going to surge too much, and I think you'll see Joe Burrow kind of come back down to earth from last week. What do you see going into this one in Cincy?
Yeah, the last couple times this season that I've had expectations for the Cincinnati Bengals heading into Sunday, that it hasn't really turned out too well. They got blown out both times. I expected them to play much better compared to those times. I think this is like probably the biggest game of Joe Burrow's very short career so far. A lot of pressure. You can lock up the division virtually. If you get this win, it's the one you can stop the Chiefs from getting the 1 seed, but I just don't really see it happening. I think Patrick Mahomes and that offense is starting to get it going. We obviously know how well that defense is playing. I think they'll force Joe Burrow into an interception or two, make him kind of, especially if they get behind and he's trying to force the ball and trying to get the Bengals back in the game, which is a very realistic scenario against the Chiefs. I think they'll be able to force him into a turnover or two. I think the Chiefs are just going to be a little too much, right? We talked about in the recap episode, it feels like the Chiefs are just kind of a step ahead of everybody. And I think they kind of stay a step ahead today. And they kind of secure and lock up that 1 seed. And they understand they're a veteran team. This is their fourth year in a row with Patrick Mahomes in a deep playoff run looming. So they know how important the rest is. I just think they come in focused and they get it done. But I expect the Bengals to play a close game, a respectable game, keep it competitive for the most part. But I think that defense is just going to be flying around the ball. I expect the Chiefs to get a bit of a lead. Joe Burrow maybe has to force it a little bit, and you can force him into an interception or two. I just think the Chiefs are rolling. They're playing the best football of the season for them so far, and I think they keep it rolling, secure that 1 seed because they understand how important this game is.
Yeah, for sure. They understand they won every playoff game at Arrowhead. And yeah, I just like where the Chiefs are. The defense is flying around. I definitely don't expect it to be a game like last week. Joe Burrow is he's a little bit better than Big Ben is at this point. And they obviously have some studs with Jamar Chase. They have Joe Mixon, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins. Like they have weapons to kind of turn it into like a shootout, if you could say, if the defenses somehow don't show up. But I mean, you hit it pretty much spot on. I expect at some point that Bengals O-line to kind of give up some pressure. They're known to give up some pressure. And Chris Jones, Melvin Ingram, and those guys, and Steve Spagnuolo know that. And they'll be looking to put it on Joe Burrow. And it is probably the biggest game of his young 2-year career up to this point, which is it's funny to say, talking about biggest games of the career in this short of a career. But yeah, I just like where the Chiefs are. They understand how important this is. And yeah, they're just going to keep it going. It's crazy to think that they could probably win out, be 13-4, go from 3-4 to 13-4, because they're just that good of a football team. The offense last week started to figure it out a little bit, spreading it around. Obviously, it was a bad Tyreek game, and they still rolled on the offensive side. Yeah, Travis Kelce back. It's just going to be, everything is rolling for the Chiefs. And yeah, I expect Joe Burrow to definitely maybe give us a fumble, definitely an interception. I think they'll force him into an interception. At least one, if not two. And I expect the Chiefs. I'm going to go Chiefs by 10, to be honest. I think the Chiefs, it's like 4.5. So it's down to 4.5. I like the Chiefs by over a touchdown. I just think when you bring it to prime time, the NFL level is going to be a little bit different than facing Clemson and Oklahoma.
And this is the exact kind of game that just favors the veteran experienced team. Cause like, as much as we like the Bengals, they've been exciting. They've been good. All their key pieces are very young. And then even Zach Taylor, a head coach, compared to Andy Reid, the experience is just not even, it's just such a big gap. It's just hard not to see Kansas City winning this game.
Exactly. And I didn't even mention, you hit that too with the coaching difference. Andy Reid on one sideline compared to Zach Taylor. I trust Andy Reid a little bit more in a game like this, but I mean, it could be fun, right? Like I kind of hope neither defense shows up so we can just get Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce against Joe Mixon, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. Like, let's have some fun in week 17, roaring us into kind of the playoff stretch.
I would love it. I would love a 525-yard game again and just a big shootout. It'd be so much fun.
That's what I'm saying. It would be hilarious. But yeah, let's keep moving. Late game in the window, really if you're not on the Denver Broncos 7-8 wagon looking at the Chargers, this is probably the game of the week. It is America's game of the week on Fox. We have the Arizona Cardinals, the crumbling Cardinals, Cliff Kingsbury's crumbling Cardinals, heading on the road. Losers of a 3 straight going to Dallas. If you had asked me like 4 weeks ago or 5 weeks ago, this game in Dallas, I would have said the Cardinals will beat the piss out of these guys. It's a classic game where the Cowboys will find a way to not show up. But I mean, the Cardinals that we expected are back. They're now 10-5. They've fumbled the 1 seed. They've fumbled the division. They fumbled just about everything. And on the other side, you got the number 1 offense in the NFL. It looks like you got the Dallas Cowboys 11-4. They're still in play for the 1 seed if the Vikings can somehow pull an upset. And I just like everything that the Cowboys are doing. It's crazy. Dan Quinn, what he's done with that defense. Micah Parsons, definitely defensive player of the year. Honestly, if he has 2 more good weeks, could be the defensive player of the year, which is it's scary to know that guy's going to be in the NFC East for the next decade, if not more. The guy's a beast. Honestly, I love watching him, even though he's in the Dallas Cowboys jersey. I love watching him. And then obviously, you know what the Cowboys have on the offensive side with Dak Prescott playing some pretty damn good football. They got Zeke and Pollard out of the backfield. And then the wide receivers, they speak for themselves. Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, and CeeDee Lamb. So, I mean, it's 5.5 right now. I think it's up to 6 right now. I had to go with the Cowboys. I don't trust Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray to really figure it out. And I like how the Cowboys defense is able to attack. They're going to come at Kyler Murray and force him into some stuff that we didn't see earlier in the year that we're kind of seeing come back. So, I mean, I like where the Cowboys are, and it's kind of, if you're a Cardinals fan, you got to be scared, right? You're heading into the backstretch, into the playoffs, probably playing some of your worst football. So it's downhill. It's definitely Cliff Kingsbury. You lose this, you might be on red alert. And I just think it's going to be another long day. What do you see here?
I looked for many reasons to pick the Arizona Cardinals. I wanted to pick the Arizona Cardinals. I want reasons to pick the Cardinals. Nothing would make me happier than the Cardinals getting it right against Dallas, kicking their ass, and they're back to grooving. But I just don't see how. I don't see how you can have any faith in Arizona or Cliff Kingsbury right now. This team has been sputtering. You're going against maybe the defensive player of the year, Micah Parsons. You got Trayvon Diggs ball, and that whole unit is playing out of their minds. Dallas has been great. Not to mention their offense is absolutely rolling. They scored 42 first half points last week against that route against Washington. Extremely impressive. The Cowboys are hitting on all cylinders, and it's like, what has Arizona done in the past month to give you any confidence that they can go on the road and win this game? They've been road warriors this year. They've been very good on the road, but they were very good the first part of the year, and this whole past month has just been bad. No Hopkins, obviously. They still have plenty of weapons. We talked about it in the recap show. So I look towards the coaching and the play calling, but this isn't really a get right spot. Dallas is probably the worst team you could ask for for the Cardinals when they need a get right spot. They need to get their offense in a groove and going again. And this defense is not the one to face to do that. So I have a hard time seeing how Arizona puts up enough points. I think I like Dallas by a touchdown here. I know their offense will get going and be able to score in Arizona. I'm sure Arizona will be able to score, but I just don't know how much. I have more faith in that Cowboys defense to force a turnover. Kyler probably is going to try and do a little too much because the team's sputtering a little bit. I just don't have any faith in Arizona right now, and I don't see how they can get it done.
Exactly. I tried to sit there as well and be like, you know what, this could be the game, right? They lost 3 straight. This could be the game. Like, this is where they go on the road. And the Cowboys, they're another team that's kind of notorious for like late season and playoff miscues and losing games and doing stuff. But I just couldn't this time. There's just no offensive continuity with Arizona. The play calling's not there. Just everything, the rhythm's not there. Everything just looks forced, and they're in trouble. Obviously, Cliff Kingsbury hasn't really got his unit. It's interesting to look. They're 8-18 in their last 9 games of the season under Cliff Kingsbury since 2019, and they're 15-5-1 in their first 7 games of the season. So Cliff Kingsbury clearly hasn't figured out that you got to play a whole season, right? It's not a 7-game season. It's now a 17-game season, and he still hasn't figured it out. And yeah, the Cowboys, I mean, their offense last week put on a clinic, and I just expect more. The Cowboys are rolling at the right time, offense and defensively, and the Cardinals aren't. As I said, if you would ask me 5 weeks ago, a month ago, I would have liked the Cardinals a lot going into this game, but it's one that if somehow the Cowboys don't come out with their game, the Cardinals could, but I'm not rolling with it. I think the Cardinals are going to have a tough time stopping that Dallas offense with Kellen Moore calling a good games lately and keeping that team rolling. Yeah, I expect some more Micah Parsons causing some terror out there on Sunday. It's scary to think the Cowboys are one miscue out of the 1 seed.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was going to bring up. Like, once again, they're going to be focused. You get the chance of the 1 seed, and Green Bay plays Sunday night, so they know they need to win no matter what. So I don't see Dallas dropping this.
Facts for sure. At home, they should take care of business. And yeah, let's keep moving on to the team that the Cowboys are hoping has a miscue. Obviously, it's the Minnesota Vikings going on the road to face the 12-3 Packers, who are currently the 1 seed. In the NFC, Aaron Rodgers currently the MVP favorite as well. They're probably, I mean, obviously the Chiefs are betting favorites, but if you ask me, I'd probably say the Packers are my Super Bowl favorite, not by a lot, but just by a nudge. I just like they have the complete everything, the complete team, everything's kind of rolling. But just to focus on this one, we got the Jekyll and Hyde Vikings. They're 7-8. They've kind of fumbled their playoff hopes a little bit. I'm glad that they fumbled their playoff hopes, to be honest. Obviously, as an Eagles fan, it's good news for us. But I mean, when you look at them, Kirk Cousins hasn't been bad this year at all. He's actually been pretty damn good. They have Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook's there. So, I mean, when you look at it, they could put up points. They could definitely cause a little bit of havoc at Lambeau. I expect them to kind of keep it close. When the spread was like 7, I kept telling myself Packers. But then I was just thinking about it. I was like, I just watched Aaron Rodgers on Christmas night limp around, getting his toes stepped on quite a bit on Christmas night. And obviously his mobility is definitely starting to be an issue down the stretch as he takes more hits and more hits, doesn't look really comfortable. He maybe should have got the toe surgery over the bye week, which he obviously put off. But I mean, the Rodgers to Devontae Adams duo, ridiculous. They still have Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon out of the backfield. So I mean, I like the Packers to win, but I definitely, the more I sat back and thought about it, I think the Vikings can score enough and cause enough issues and be annoying enough on Sunday night to cover the 7. But I expect the Packers obviously keep their hold on the 1 seed, regardless of what the Cowboys do at that 425 game. So what do you see here? I mean, I just think it's another Rodgers at Lambeau. He'll find a way to win, regardless of what Kirk Cousins does.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think it's going to be a close game. Minnesota matches up really well. They have beaten them, I think, 3 out of the last 4 times. They've kind of had their number a little bit, but they're usually close games. I think it's going to be a similar situation, but I don't see Green Bay losing at home. Sunday Night Football, lock up the 1 seed, just like Kansas City. There's similar scenarios in both conferences. I don't see Green Bay messing it up. I think they'll come in focused. They will probably get pressure on Kirk Cousins, maybe force a turnover or 2. And I think they'll win a close game. I like Minnesota to cover, though, because they just match up well. And Justin Jefferson, I think, is going to have a day Sunday night. He's had an incredible year. He's pretty much not coverable in one-on-one coverage. You cannot just put one guy on him and expect him to be covered. He just gets open. And I think him and Kirk Cousins will have a field day, but it just won't be enough. I don't see how you slow down Green Bay's offense and score on them, because their units just pick up on each other. If the offense isn't doing well, the defense picks up the slack and vice versa. We saw it in the second half of the Browns game. Green Bay only had a field goal to open the third quarter, and they pretty much didn't do anything else offensively, and it was all up to that defense basically. It got close, but they pulled it out, and I expect Green Bay to do the same thing here.
Yeah, exactly. The only thing I'm watching is if the Vikings pass rush can get after Aaron Rodgers and hit him. He can't really move. We saw that in the second half a lot on Saturday night. It's weird. I was about to say Sunday night last week, but Saturday night, Christmas night, he got hit quite a bit. He was limping around. It didn't really look good. You can tell the toes becoming an issue. So if the Vikings can get after him and hit him, it could become an issue, because obviously I'm with you. Like Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson, they're gonna have some fun out there. You're spot on. They match up well, and they cause issues with the Packers for some reason. But it's hard for me to think that Aaron Rodgers this year at least is going to fumble the 1 seed at home to Kirk Cousins. I would be amazed if that happens. I expect Vikings cover, Packers win, maybe, I don't know, 31-27. It should be a fun one, to be honest. I think we'll get some points. We'll get some big Devontae Adams games, big Justin Jefferson games, and should overall be a fun one Sunday night, I think.
Yeah, I would like the over.
Yeah,
too.
yeah, I'd say so. I haven't really looked at it, but yeah, I'd expect some points to get scored. Yeah, let's move it on to the last game on the slate. Honestly, just because it's prime time and we're like forced to cover it. Well, not really forced, but we just decided to cover all the primetime games. We got the Browns going on the road to face the Pittsburgh Steelers, 7-8 Browns, slim to none playoff hopes. And then you got the Pittsburgh Steelers, 7-1, slightly ahead of the Browns, but still slim to none playoff hopes. Yeah, this is literally maybe an eyesore of a game. We literally watched the Steelers last week when Big Ben flew the whole family into Arrowhead and they just get absolutely annihilated, embarrassed. And then we watch Baker Mayfield throw every throw off the back foot in Lambeau on a Christmas night. And yeah, basically fumbled that game as well. You look at, honestly, they probably should have won. It really wasn't. If he doesn't throw 4 interceptions, they're right there. 24-22 loss. If he doesn't play like dog shit, they arguably could have won when you look back at it. But I mean, this game, honestly, the only reason it's really worth covering, it's Big Ben's probably his last game at home at Heinz Field as a member of the Steelers, as all signs point to he will retire. Probably the smart move, probably should have did it 2 years ago. But I mean, if a team's going to give you $40 million to be mediocre, well, who's turning that down, right? It's a genius decision, genius business decision to stick around. So yeah, I mean, just real quick, anything on this? Is Baker Mayfield going to throw another 4 interceptions? It was a tough one. It's like, it really pressed me a little bit to should I take Steelers plus 3.5, right? Big Ben, is he really going to get the shit beat out of him by a division rival in his last home game as a member of the Steelers? And I just couldn't. I went Browns minus 3.5. I just think they'll be able to run enough. And obviously the Steelers run defense is still pretty atrocious. So, I mean, how are you feeling on this? I guess I'm finally glad Big Ben's retiring though. Yeah, that's all I got really.
Yeah, I think the Steelers' run defense is still recovering from Dalvin Cook on Thursday night. That's how atrocious it was. You know me, I've bet against the Steelers practically all year. I think I picked them once and they didn't cover, so I'm always out on the Steelers. I just don't like this offense that much with Big Ben. He's obviously at the end now. I mean, it'd be a nice story, right? If they went out, played well, beat a division opponent. Big Ben goes out with a win at home. It's a nice story. I just don't see it happening. I think the Browns are going to be able to run all over Pittsburgh. That defense is not what it used to be. And this is a perfect game for Baker, right? Because like when Baker and the Browns play well, it's a game where they just run the ball and Baker can just kind of manage. You don't need him to make throws down the stretch because we saw what happened last week when you need that. And yeah, I think this is just the Brown. It's going to be all Browns with their running game. I'm sure Pittsburgh will find a way to keep it close because it's division and it's at home, and Pittsburgh just knows how to keep things close for some damn reason. But yeah, I'm all over the Browns. I think their run game is just going to be way too much.
Yeah, exactly. This has like a 14-10 feel. Like it's going to be stupidly ugly to watch. Honestly, I don't have I'm not excited for this. I mean, good luck in retirement to Big Ben. Baker Mayfield, maybe have a little bit better of a game than you did on Christmas night, another primetime one where the world will be watching and you're going to be scrutinized by pretty much everybody besides Skip Bayless, who continues to never blame Baker Mayfield for anything. Gave him a B grade on a Christmas night, pretty ugly. But yeah, I mean, I don't expect this to be the greatest football game ever on television to wrap up the week. I expect the Browns win, but not pretty at all. Any other games that kind of catch your eye heading in that we didn't really talk about that we kind of touched on quick before we move on to the spread picks?
Rams Ravens is kind of interesting on paper, but I just can't. I went Rams 3.5 just because I think it's 4.5 now. Actually, the Ravens secondary is just so beat up. I expect Stafford and Kupp just to kind of have a field day on them.
Yeah, I don't expect the Rams, like they watched the Cardinals fumble the division. I don't expect the Rams to kind of give it back to them. I just don't think, the Ravens are like decimated. I wish they would just shut down Lamar and stop having him practice. I mean, I saw a video of him earlier in the week where the coach was moving faster than him up the field. He looked bad. Just shut Lamar down. It's like a crazy, like multitude of injuries. Like this might be the most season ending injuries I've ever seen happen to a team at so many key spots in a football season, from preseason straight through. Everybody, they just got annihilated by injuries. So it's a tough one. Yeah, I mean, another one that's interesting, obviously Indianapolis and Vegas, Las Vegas, they have a shot. They're still in the playoff hunt. And then obviously Indianapolis, They're pretty hot. We had them splitting their last two games with the Patriots and the Cardinals, and they win them both. So, I mean, that's just what they're doing. They're playing good football. Jonathan Taylor continuing his quest for the MVP, hoping Aaron Rodgers has a bad night and he has like a 200-yard, 3-touchdown night. Or day, I should say, as they play at noon to kind of swoop in and maybe steal that MVP. Kind of a tough one, but I mean, yeah, that's really it for the slate. I would say there's not really, we kind of touched on everything. I mean, we don't need to hear about Bears, Giants, Niners, Texans. So I mean, let's just straight up move over to the spread picks real quick for week 17. Obviously, you and John, one game apart. You're 1-8, or he's 118, 105-1. You're sitting at 117, 106-1. And then I'm over here one game under 500. Week 16 or week 15 really screwed me over. That was the bad 6-8 week, which kind of set me back. But I mean, we're eerily similar across the board. I think we said besides for one game, which is that Broncos. Yeah, it's literally Broncos Chargers. So I mean, I don't even think we have anything to debate about. But yeah, any picks that you kind of love going into this weekend? I know you said right off the top you're not really enamored with many of them, but anyone that kind of sticks out to you that you're kind of very confident in?
Honestly, this week, not really. I like Dolphins plus 3.5 because I think they can straight up win and they're getting points. So I would lean there. And then that Broncos Charger ones that we differed on, like that one was tough to me. Last time they played, it was tough. And I went Chargers and I got it wrong. I feel like the same thing's going to happen. I went Broncos. I'm going to get it wrong, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think if I had to pick one, it'd be Dolphins plus 3.5. And if I had, honestly, weirdly enough, Lions plus 7 feels good to me.
Yeah.
The Seahawks are just such a mess. And even though it's in Seattle, like the Lions, they just play hard enough. Like I like obviously not a lot of wins. And Lions fans are dying for wins. But it's like they suddenly like have a little bit of a culture and they play hard for Dan Campbell. I saw a locker room video, like him talking to the guys. It's pretty cool, to be honest, on Twitter over the weekend. So yeah, I like the Lions. They just play hard. And I think the Russell Wilson, he's done with Seattle as a whole. So I like the Lions. It's weird to say that, take a 2-11 team and say that you like them as one of your locks of the week. But yeah, I mean, that's really that's gonna be it for the week 17 preview. Yeah, thanks for listening. Please like, subscribe, and comment. If you have any suggestions, drop them. As always, the Spotify link, if you're audio only, will be dropped in the description of this video. Go ahead and follow us on there, as both upload simultaneously onto YouTube and Spotify at the same time. And yeah, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week to unpack what happened in week 17.